Hello everyone and welcome back to Unity of Command. This is the campaign scenario Lake Ladoga from the Blackturn DLC. October 16th, 1941. The pressure on Moscow keeps most Soviet reinforcements away from the Leningrad area, and the Germans launch an ambitious attack. And ambitious it is. It is a very challenging scenario. Fortunately, it's relatively small and it only has relatively small amounts of units, so it's not that painful, not that tedious. So when you lose, you can quickly restart and you haven't wasted that much time. It's, I would say, a small to medium size map. And just looking at the unit allocation, you would say that it seems to be a fairly easy map, but there are two things to consider here. First of all, that we have quite a few Finnish units, which are not as useless as the other auxiliary forces, but they are not the equivalent of German infantry units, so so they're basically not that useful, or rather their use is limited. And secondly, that the Soviets receive reinforcements, not that heavily as the scenario description also stated, but still they'll pop up. The other thing is that we receive 2 air attacks per turn, which we will have to put to good use, and an air supply per turn, which means that we will be able to supply 1 unit anywhere on the battlefield, even if it's cut off. So that is something crucial on this map, and I don't think you can win a brilliant victory without it. And the thing about this is that it took me a lot of tries, so more than 5 tries, that's for sure, to get there, but you kind of get the hang of it after a while, and once again, this is a scenario where you don't really need luck to win. You just need to figure out all the little details of the map. And this is a peculiar one, an unusual one, and immediately you can see that it's kind of broken into 2 halves. There is a very crowded Leningrad area, which is besieged from the north by the Finns and from the south by German forces, which are dug in. And we'll talk about the details of this area, of both areas, later. And on the east, we have a river front of the Volkhov River, and beyond it is some unhospitable area, so it's the terrain is not really friendly for warfare. And we have a very limited number of useful units here if you look all around. So the Soviets are likewise not that strong, by the way. They receive some reinforcements, including special steps as reinforcements. By the way, in the northeast, we have far northeast, we have some Finnish troops, and and 1 German. Sorry. And the Soviets have a few opposing forces as well. And yeah, let's take a quick look at the terrain, and then I'll explain everything later. We'll get back to our forces as well. So first of all, we have 4 objectives to hit. The first one is simply called Leningrad. Capture the city before it can be supplied over the frozen Lake Ladoga, to be taken by the end of turn 4. And the tricky thing about this is that you don't need to capture the whole city. In fact, there is a river flowing through it, and you only need to capture the city hex south of the river. So that's something crucial to keep in mind and keep it. We are not going to remove this bunch of units from the map. I'm not saying it's impossible. Probably if you're going for a normal victory, it's even desirable to do so for supply reasons, and so you free up a lot of units. But if you're going for a brilliant victory, you simply cannot allocate enough forces to do that. Then by the end of turn 6, we have 2 further objectives to hit. Volkhov, rail junction used by Soviet force trying to lift the siege by land. And Novaya Ladoga, completely cut off the Ladoga resupply route to Leningrad. I really hate this one. This is completely bogus. We already totally cut off the resupply route. So this is just some arbitrary victory hex here in the north, and it is nowhere there, nothing there really. So it's We just need to drive deep, far to the north. And by the end of turn 7, we need to capture Tikhvin. Capture Tikhvin to establish a strong flank towards remaining Soviet territory. Alright, that at least makes sense. Now let's look at the terrain. One thing you'll notice, which what I just described, is that the victory hex of Leningrad, which is not the only city hex, but interestingly these two hexes are actually clear. They are not it's just graphics. The the victory hex is on the southern side of the river, and it can only be attacked, well, rather it should only be attacked directly from the south, because that's the only direction that it's not protected by a river. And we have the Volkhov River here. It's the Neva River, by the way, flowing through Leningrad. And here the terrain is quite inhospitable, as I was saying. It's all forests and marshes, and so we need to force a river crossing. Actually, we need to force several river crossings to get to capture our objectives. I'll explain in a moment how this map works. But let's take a look at supply, because that's really interesting. We have a very strong supply source here, which is off-road, and for a lot of tries, for the first few tries, I was trying to use this as to kind of drive drill forwards and cut the Soviets off from all their supplies, right? But that's not going to work. So instead, we need to use the road supply once again, which has a range of 6, so it's not very powerful, but it's okay. And the problem is that it is cut off currently, as you can see, because it actually connects in Leningrad. You don't need to capture the city hex, so if you capture these two hexes, then your supply will be contiguous, or even just these two, sorry. So these two hexes are the ones blocking our supply at the moment. And that's one of our main goals. Actually, that's our first goal. Otherwise, our drive is not going to be successful. The Soviets cannot be cut off. First of all, they have two supply sources in the Leningrad area, which, as I've said, you can clear out if you're going for a slower victory. In the north, the Finns have their own supplies, which is irrelevant practically. And the Soviets have 3 supply sources, 2 of them on roads. And at first I tried to rush in and cut them all off from supply. They don't field forces here in this area, so that seemed like a good strategy to win. However, they will receive reinforcements, and so unless you capture a lot of territory, they're simply recapture these things. And the other problem is that your units will run out of supply, and when they spawn their tank divisions there, they'll just wash you off the map. So this is the strategy that's not working, unfortunately. One more thing to mention is that we're going to have bad weather. This is inevitable on this map. It's also going to turn frozen, so eventually, which is fine. And this is the only aspect of the map where you need to get lucky. In fact, whenever you start a scenario and this area is muddy, I highly recommend you simply restart it immediately without doing anything, because you need to take some specific steps on turn 1 and 2 to win the game, to win this match. And yeah, so that is also going to be a problem. And now it's time to look at our forces. So as I've said, the Soviets don't really field anything that is super dangerous at the moment. They have an NKVD regiment guarding the city hex. They have a few guns as always, and they're going to receive tank divisions. In fact, what's very interesting is that they'll be very adamant at defending this supply source, which we are never going to attack, so this is something that is totally futile. They'll be receiving some tank divisions and some experienced veteran level mobile, so motorized rifle divisions and the like, with special steps, so the reinforcements are quite strong. On the other hand, we don't really have anything, so some of our infantry divisions are quite strong in the sense that they have 7 steps, but all of them are with standard experience level, and all the units that you have that are worthwhile are the following: 2 panzer divisions, which are both veteran and have 5 steps. And you cannot disband one of them to buff up the other, then that would be futile. By the way, we are back to 5 steps reinforcement arriving every turn, and we will need to put that to good use. I think that's also a must if you want to win this match. So the thing is that we have these two tank divisions, and we have two also veteran motorized divisions, which are practically your only forces that you need to win this game with. And it's very funny because you need to win on 3 fronts practically, and some of them quite simultaneously. Now you're thinking that, hey, we also have an SS division, right? That must be something. And well, no. This is the Polizei division, so division number 4. It has 5 steps, and it has standard experience level, no special step, no experience. It's barely superior to the infantry division next to it. In fact, if you try using it as we were using the motorized elite SS divisions previously, then they will just die simply. So they are not enough to break through here and capture the city X. In fact, nothing here is. So what you need to do here is you need to drive to the north, while also trying to force a push through across the river and capture these 2 hexes, while also at the very least threaten and push a bit to the east along this bridge here. And by the way, there is another bridge here which will be interesting in the future, and threaten, and also if you can push from the south as well, and at the same time allocate at least some forces to the Leningrad front at the beginning, at the very least at the beginning of this scenario, all the while having 4 units that you can reasonably rely on. So that sounds impossible at first, but it actually isn't. And the reason it's not is the fact that we receive 5 reinforcement steps at first, and this unit is becoming very important immediately at the beginning of the scenario, believe it or not. It's a totally worthless RHG troop, which is Rückwärtiges Heeresgebiet, which means basically army rear area. So they are not frontline troops, they are security troops, as you can see. So they're practically worthless. On the other hand, they sit on a flak. The only special step we have in this whole scenario is in the possession of this totally worthless unit. And by the way, we receive no reinforcements whatsoever during this scenario either. So what you need to do is to quickly disband this unit, reorganize this unit. In the next turn, you can allocate its 4 steps to your motorized divisions, thereby bringing them up to totally maximum strength, and they will be excellent. And you can also allocate the special step to one of your tank divisions or to one of your motorized divisions if you wish, whatever you prefer. And so this unit is actually turning into a real asset, and you can already use these steps that you reallocate on turn 3. So this is very important. This is of utmost importance that you disband this unit on turn 1 and act like I described. You will also want to reorganize other units as well, at least one other German infantry unit, so that you can reinforce the SS and also the motorized divisions should they suffer casualties. And you can freely reorganize at least 1 or 2 Finnish divisions, and they have 6 steps, so they contain 6 steps each. Thereby you can make your other Finnish divisions even stronger. And that will come in handy, especially on the Leningrad front. Alright, so what is the strategy here? It's very simple. Rush 1 tank immediately to the west. On turn 1 you need to capture this hex. On turn 2 you need to capture this hex. And of course by turn 4 you need to capture this hex. So this is the way the Western front works. And you need to also focus your air attacks here. So this is crucial that you take possession of these hexes. Once you do so, by the end of turn 2, the beginning of turn 3, you should focus on holding the supply route, and thereby allowing all your units to push forward here and to also be kind of in supply here. The river bank consists of clear hexes, so if the weather is okay, then it can actually reach up quite far to the north. So 6, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1 up until like here, which is great, which is enough. You don't need to capture the third and final supply route, which looks tempting, but yeah, you don't have the time for it. And another thing is that, of course, as I've said, the bad weather is inevitable, but this time it's going to come in handy. So if you are lucky, and as I've said, weather is the only aspect you need to be lucky about, then it will the bad weather will arrive here, the rainfall or snowfall or whatever it is, when we have just captured this city hex. So it will be more difficult, practically impossible for the AI to recapture it. Don't forget that this is surrounded by river, except for the south. So what we're going to do eventually is we're going to sit the Polizei division inside the victory hex, make it dig in, and reinforce it as well. And once it's like that, once it's reinforced and dug in, even though it's a standard unit, the AI can do nothing about it. It would be suicide to send anything against it. And then you can actually send your tank back to the east. In this playthrough it arrived a bit late, but that's fine. You need to send or at least what I did is that I sent the other tank which received the 88 gun to the north, along with this division, with this motorized division, and they need to capture these two hexes along with some infantry support. You don't need to hold these hexes, by the way. And the final motorized division is going to push through to the east with the help of more standard infantry divisions. The AI is very happy to capture this supply route, thereby providing better supply for Leningrad, but it's totally pointless. Once we capture the hex, we don't really want to do anything about it, so it's a hollow victory for it. And that's it. As you can see, with this set of moves, the AI is actually going to collapse relatively, or at least in some parts of the front. So let's see how it works out. So first things first, move the SS out, use your air attack. We have 2 air attacks per turn to attack this hex. And if you don't manage to capture this hex this turn, then restart the scenario, and you've wasted like 15 seconds of your life, so that's fine. Also, don't use the SS. As I've said, it's not very strong, and it needs to stay there to kind of hold the hex itself. And sorry. And this is all we wanted to achieve this turn. The Soviets cannot capture this hex, so we're fine. We don't have the supply connection yet, but that's all we can hope for this turn. And now we remove this this security troop, as I mentioned, and we are pushing here. This unit holding the bridge is actually weaker than anything else, so you can remove it like thus. Even if you don't, that's still fine. And what I did is I removed this unit. I could have waited another turn, but I didn't want to leave it here anyway, so I would have withdrawn it. And I didn't want to forget about it, so I think it's easier to just simply remove it off the map. Its steps are going to come in handy afterwards, so that's also fine. And as I've mentioned, with the other tank unit, we are pushing to the north. Cornering this unit allows us to overrun it with the standard infantry unit, and we keep pushing. This unit is entrenched, but it's on in a clear hex, so it's not really in any so it's not really a dangerous one. And now we move this unit into Novgorod, which is our supply hex, or near so we're screening our supply hex and removing 1 Finnish infantry. There is nothing you can do on this front in the first few turns, and so there is no point in keeping that one, and this will allow us to reinforce our Finnish units eventually, so on turn 3, which is fine, which is exactly what we want how we want it to go. We need the Germans first, so that's priority. As I've said, don't hold this front line. The AI will try to attack it, will succeed, but it's not really. It's a bad idea to hold this. That's it. The AI is now seeing what's happening, so it's bunching up in front of its victory hex, and as usual, it's losing all its entrenchment for no reason whatsoever. So at least we can count on this kind of mistake or error that the AI often makes. However, it will want to try to cut us off, so we'll have to be careful about this. The AI will push forces there to do that, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, turn 2, and the storm is kind of here, but there is nothing we can do about it. We need to capture this hex this turn. There is no other way to go about it. And once I breach it, we attack it with with 2 air attacks, that thereby having better chances than previously. Unfortunately, the weather still gave us a huge malus, and this is going poorly, obviously, but this this is an inevitable battle. So we need to capture his hex and hold it too. And I do something risky here. I wager that the AI will not move here with this unit. It would lose its entrenchment, and that it won't move to the south, although it could. So that would be possible for it. It would make it possible for it to cut us off. But now the road is in full supply, and as you've just seen, we are allocating our flak special step here, and also we are putting reinforcing our motorized division to full strength. Obviously these are not available this turn, but from the next turn onwards they're gonna be pretty excellent, so this is great. We still need to push and obviously try to destroy as much as you can. So we are first attacking this cavalry unit with our motorized division, which is stronger. We destroy it actually with the help of that unit. Oh no, sorry, we don't, but whatever, close enough. And we're just attacking wherever it looks like it makes sense. We want to cause the AI some damage, and we want to throw it off balance as well. And this was a quite crucial move. By moving this unit across the river, we are threatening the victory hex of Volkov right here. So that is that's important, so that it has to defend from both banks, which is quite difficult. And of course the victory hex is on the other side of the river, thereby it is easier to capture from here. And with the Finns you don't need to really defend the eastern part of this little area. It's a swamp. You can easily give it up, and they can actually run out of supply on bad weather there. Soviets too, by the way, that these supply sources are pretty bad. So what I recommend is bunch up to the west, reinforce them, and they actually will come in handy in certain situations, as you will see. So in the Soviet second turn they receive reinforcements, because why not? And I actually expected that this might happen. I'm still not happy about it. The AI used this weak unit to cut us off. It's still on the other side of the river, so that will prove problematic, as you will see. And now it kind of has to bunch up in our faces to box us in, but everywhere. This is not a good situation for the AI. It retreated. This unit was out of supply now that we've cut it off, so it retreated back across the river, which is excellent, great. And it attacked here in the north, extreme north. It attacked one of our Finnish troops, which is fine. I mean, I don't really care what happens here. And it retreated across the river again, so that's also excellent. So instead of cutting us off, it actually chose to retreat. Now it's pushing more forces across, and that's a problem because we need to secure this route. This is something we cannot afford. When the weather is good, the point is that we will connect here as well, so our forces will be in supply on the eastern bank of the river as well. You don't need to capture it for like a great length, but pushing across creates a bulge here and draws forces away from elsewhere. And if you manage, then you also have a great supply route. If you don't do that, then there will be too many forces here that to allow you to capture all three victory axes. So it is absolutely essential. Right. Now we bombed what we did. Was we are trying to capture this city X this turn, and as I've said, its only weak point is from the south, so we move the SS left. I know it's weak, but there is a river there. I know it's not visible, but I swear it is there, and therefore a direct attack would be very costly for the Soviets. And so we bomb the city X. This goes extremely well, as you can see, and we attack with the tank. The weather is bad, but the air attack was totally successful, and we capture it with the tanks. We don't attack, and we reinforce the SS. It's not going to lose, I mean, it's not going to go experience, so it's not going to go down to green, obviously. And from the next turn onwards, it's going to have 6 active steps, which is great. It's the best infantry unit around, at least here. So when it holds it can very easily hold this hex, and we will make it dig in as well, and afterwards the AI will never attack it. It won't attack it previously as well, but once the weather clears, it probably could with some of its better units, but if it's dug in and across a river, then the AI is not stupid enough to attack it. Alright, we need to still obviously hold the road, and I send this unit here because I believe that this moment that we have secured their path, they cannot cut us off here, so that's fine. And getting frustrated by this bad result, I realized that we need to recapture the road and hold it as well. We can give up this kind of this gap that we made, at least the forwards most elements we can give it up, but we need at least the road itself and the bridgehead on the eastern side. Right, so instead of focusing on the north, and this goes better, the weather is good here, so this actually goes excellently, and we captured this victory hex. This victory hex is due to be captured on turn 6, and this one was due on turn 4, and by turn 3 or during turn 3 we captured them both, and we never lose them either, so this is going great. And our tank has not even acted yet. Unfortunately we need to move it before it can shoot, so the flag gun is doing nothing in this battle, but that's fine. We're just mopping up weak units, and we're securing its supply. And now I really didn't like this, what I had to do here, but it had to be done. I pulled the only good unit back to recapture the road, and we will have to hold it like so. There is no other way to do it. And I even send this unit in so that we secure the road. This was the best setup I could make. I realized that this unit can cross the river now. The other supply is here, so it's not a good idea to do that. But and I'm not very happy with how this progress took place, but whatever. The situation everywhere else is absolutely perfect. We are right next to the victory hex that we need to capture by turn 6. We have 3 whole turns to capture it, and our literally best unit on the whole battlefield is standing next to it. This city hex is going to remain ours. It is ours and it's going to remain ours. And I neglected something, not that it was important. I could have moved at least this unit across. This is a German unit, by the way, but I just didn't see it, so that's it. And you can see how poor the situation is for the Soviets. The supply is so weak that even though they are sitting literally on it, half of their units are out of supply. But anyway, there is in Leningrad at least. Everywhere else they're fine. Now is the time that they receive reinforcements, and the first time this happened, it was a real shocker. This crushed my strategy that, as I said, I wanted to cut them off from supply and starve them out, which is not possible. So if you're aiming for a brilliant victory, you don't do that, you won't succeed. The end. And as you can see, they receive veteran rifle divisions with guns, and they have received a few tank divisions as well. These are very weak, but still there's something that you have to, count with. And yeah, we don't really have much that can act up against this one, so we have to play around it, kind of. Obviously they try to cut us off, they don't succeed, and this unit walked ahead. Fortunately it couldn't cut us off. The only reason that the only units that are out of supply here are, of course, this totally cut off tank, this infantry unit that I don't care about, and these infantry units which are far ahead and also on the other side of the river. The weather arrived fully now into the middle of this battlefield, so of course our supply has taken a big hit, and now we need to start using our emergency supply, and this is kind of crucial. So if you have two important units that are out of supply for one turn, and you are not sure that, so you believe that they might be out of supply the next turn as well, then you actually have to start resupplying them, one of them from the air right this turn, so that both of them are in supply the next turn. Otherwise one of them will be unable to attack, and since you only have 4 good units that can attack, this is not a sacrifice that you can take. So this is simply not acceptable. So as I've mentioned, we are moving the tank out of this city hex. It has better things to do than sit there. The SS is good enough, and we actually managed to link up with the Finns. It's not really important. The weather is horrible, so attacking is not that great in the north. But now the Finnish infantry steps have arrived, so I spent them one by one. They were already on. They already had 6 active steps, so I have to spend them like so. This is fine. I don't care. Our supplies to us from here. I don't care what the Soviets do here, to be honest. So they can even clear out the whole northern area, which they won't. We will be kind of successful there, but this is also not going to matter. Now we clean out this straggler, and we're not doing anything else in the north, by the way. This is our final setup for this area. So we cleared out this straggler, and now it's time to keep driving forwards. We use our 2 air attacks on this victory axe. It's kind of successful. Obviously, this is the bad weather still holds here, so that's that. But we have the 88 gun. It wasn't that successful, but you know, progress, I guess. There is no storm here in the south, so we can attack and be successful. That's something, I guess. This is all we can hope for, to remove this 1 unit, to be honest. So yeah, like this. And the reason I moved this unit to the south was so that it screens off this unit from just marching to the north and being a problem again. Once again, so this is the weakest unit, and I don't mind kind of sacrificing it for this purpose. Now we still haven't moved with these units, so let's see what happens. We are trying to push towards the final victory hex of Tikhvin, and we resupply this one. And now I remember that we could simply cross, which was again kind of dummy that I didn't previously. As you can see, the situation for the Soviets is horrible due to the bad weather. They are running out of supply everywhere. This is really hilarious. But the AI is smart enough to try to hide these units, so it wants to save them. Obviously, they are totally worthless now. And now our advance is quite visible. So the direction of our advance is quite visible. So they of course want to block it. They don't have many forces to do that, but we also don't have many to attack them with. So this is a fair battle. And for some reason, it's reinforcing this NKVD unit, which we never planned to attack and never will. So I don't know why the AI believes that we are going to clear out this area. We have no such plans whatsoever. And it even allocates a tank special step to this unit, which is, I was very happy when that happened, because I know that this hex won't be recaptured, and I don't care if everything else falls really here. Everything north of the Neva River, if all of these Finnish units get destroyed, that's fine. That's something that alleviates the pressure from the other front lines. And now winter is arriving. This is, as you know, it's actually good news. This means that we can fight better. And we can, so first of all we resupply our tank on turn 5, and I realized that we can reach this unit, so we decide to destroy it. And what my plan is here is to try to make this tank go to the northeast, so it can link up with the forces and be of some assistance as well. I tried to also push this unit out away from the road, but that went pretty poorly. Now let's attack the victory hex, which we need to capture the next turn, the latest. So I don't want to wait with it anymore. This went pretty badly, but yeah, the attack with the 88. Now there is no weather effect here. This tank is our best unit. It has the 88mm flak, and since it hasn't moved, its bonus actually comes into play. It's not a very strong unit against infantry targets, but still it does its job. So we capture it in 1 turn ahead of time. The Soviets stand no chance of recapturing it. This tank is not gonna cut it. And by the way, it has turned elite, so there is no way they're gonna do anything about it. And now I want to trick the AI into thinking that the Leningrad front is important to me, so I try to cause them casualties. I don't know if this worked. I mean, I don't know if this had any effect on the AI, but I definitely want to make sure that this front line is that the AI pushes to the northwest, keeps pushing to the northwest. That's fine. We are digging in. We lose 2 active steps temporarily, but the bad weather holds, and that's crucial. So the Soviets won't attack. And unfortunately I had to move out of that hex. So theoretically this unit can move across and capture it, but whatever. Germans actually reach here, so we can at least have 1 attack performed. And this is the most promising assault group to capture Tikhvin. And as you can see, I'm pushing. We are only 2 hexes away. And what I really enjoy here is that this finished unit, which I don't intend to use for anything, can create havoc. The AI really gets crazy when your units do this, go for supply routes, and this is not a supply route, but it's clearly aiming for this supply source here and driving in their back. So it kind of panics, and that's exactly what we're aiming for here, right? So a bit more shuffling. This unit is perfectly safe, and in the south we also should try to push. This is gonna go relatively poorly, but once again this is something we need to do. And since this unit finally retreated, we can kind of give up on holding the western bank of the Volkhov River, and we can just try to hold this hex. This is a very weak unit, but there is not much threatening it currently, and if we hold this, then we are at least somewhat in supply, actually up to the victory axis. So this is the southern victory axe. This is excellent. Now on the Soviets' turn, some of their units are completely out of supply, which is quite pathetic. This one is also very weak. And these ones are also cut off, by the way, which is really funny. Unfortunately, we need to capture this point, and the defenses around this victory axe, around Tikhvin itself, are quite formidable. So we have 2 turns to achieve that, and we need to get close and close out the scenario. Once again, the AI kind of prioritizes the Leningrad front for whatever reason. That's fine by us, but it realized that of course we are very close to this victory hex here, so it's kind of seems to be our priority. And by the way, we moved out of this unit. We need to move out with this unit. We cannot waste it holding this hex. This unit has 6 active steps, so it's sufficient to hold it against at least the Soviet infantry, standard infantry units. Yep. And as they're trying to regroup, this is not a bad idea, by the way, so I'm not saying that the AI is playing badly here. At least it's completely dropped the ball on the Leningrad front. But this is not a bad idea, bad setup. We need to drill through most of this to capture this hex. It has 7 steps, and it's entrenched, so it's promising to be a decent battle. And once again, we only have 2 turns left. So we clear out this unit. As you can see, this is totally worthless, and we decide to cause the Soviets more casualties. Here, the idea is to make the AI believe that it's still important for us, but what it doesn't realize is that practically only the northern units fight, the Finns. And with this unit, I could have attacked this division or destroyed this one. And I thought that I was thinking that the AI might be more spooked if I destroy the weakened one. Now we are shielding off the supply route. This was a bad attack, but whatever. This unit is perfectly sufficient. I know it stands against the 7-step rifle division, but it's beyond the river, so it would still put up quite a fight, and the AI is not going to risk that. Finally, we can send this tank across and to help out its comrade here. And yeah, this went extremely poorly. For this tank special step, the KV-1 special step, did its work, so unfortunately we lost that German unit. But whatever we can do to alleviate pressure on this front is good. So I don't think this was a very smart move, but I don't think it was that horrible as it might have seemed either. Alright, we are removing this unit so it's not in the way, and I move out with the tank because I know that this unit can move in. This was planned, so this was clearly this is deliberate. These units won't be able to attack, so this point is actually secure. We should leave the weakest unit there that's around, and that's this one. This has already moved this turn. So oh no, it hasn't, sorry, but again, at least a 4-step should be there, just, you know, just in case anything happens in the next turn. Right, I realize that there is nothing to do with the Finns but keep attacking, so I do that, exactly. I don't care about losses. We resupply here in the east, and again, these units are great to cause havoc, to make the AI go crazy. These moves don't make much sense, but the AI doesn't know how to react to it. So what is this unit doing here, for instance? And yeah, we just don't care really. Now I need to get next to the city hex if I want to destroy it. I resupply this unit. If you want to capture it next turn, I resupply this motorized division, and out of these 2 units, believe it or not, the tank division is far weaker. It has fewer steps, it has 0 experience, unlike this one, and it also, this infantry unit also has a special step, so it's a no-brainer. We bomb the tank, and it goes halfway decently, and we get to move to next to the hex, to the victory hex. We also put a unit with 5 steps into this victory hex, so the Soviets cannot hopefully cannot reconquer it. This is not a very strong unit, but the Soviets are also getting slowly weaker, so that's fine. We destroy this tank division, and unfortunately I couldn't move into the forest, so that's what I had to do. What was my best move? They cut us off. This is completely futile. This is our last turn. All but this one of our units is in supply. I don't care about this Finnish division. And so in the next turn, and this one, okay, this one needed one resupply step for this suppressed step. And in the final turn, we need to win it anyway. So being out of supply is not that horrible. And yeah, the AI is still shuffling around Leningrad for whatever reason. And yes, so this was kind of worth it, 1-on-1. Fortunately, it withdraws beyond the city hex for some reason. And so turn 7 starts, the weather is perfect. This is November the 9th, 1941. It's icy, the ground is frozen, yes, but other than that, it's the perfect setup. The victory hex is not protected from any sides, basically. This one doesn't really count, to be fair. So we need to hit this one and capture it. We send in the tank first, we remove that unit. My idea, my thinking was, by the way, that we could move this tank unit and hopefully it could reach this one. So this is our stronger unit, and the idea was to use the tanks to assist in the assault. While I'm thinking, I remove this unit just for fun, and this one as well. Right, so this doesn't work out, by the way. A 1-step unit won't remove this one, but this second assault goes well. And now it's time to finish this off. Obviously we use both our air attacks on this hex. That goes without saying. And this was not very good, but at least something was achieved. And I suicide this unit, which was absolutely deliberate. It caused 1 suppressed step casualty, which is better than nothing, and we cannot use this unit anymore, so this is the end of the scenario right here. And now we attack. Bang! This was very, very, very underwhelming. So I realized that I need to pull in more units, anything that I can to weaken this unit down. But there is nothing more we can offer, and I think we had a 50% chance, so a 50% chance of it retreating. Let's see how it went. It went perfectly. We even destroyed it for as revenge for putting up so much resistance, and we could even decide which motorized division to use to move into the city X, and I decided that the southern one gets the honor. Alright, so as I've said, this scenario is pretty tricky, can be pretty tricky, and you need to take a lot of steps exactly. So you need to do a lot of actions exactly as I did. Um, First of all, immediately reorganize that RHG unit, RHG elements, the German security unit in the south, and reallocate its forces, its steps, like I just did. So to the mechanized divisions or motorized divisions, and I highly recommend reallocating the flag to the tank that is doing the push to the north. Send one of your tanks to the northwest, to the Leningrad front, and clear out the hexes in the order that I did. So first this one, then this one, and then this one, and then basically you're done. But try to protect your supply route nonetheless. So that's your from that moment on, that's your only concern. Protect this hex obviously and the supply route. In the meantime, use use the other tank unit, so one tank unit, the other tank division here to push along with the northern motorized division, and make one of them cross the river. I recommend the motorized division because it's weaker and you need the stronger unit to still keep pushing here. Withdraw your infantry to the south so they can participate in these battles. Here force a crossing and create a bridgehead. You don't push too far ahead, not that you will be able to anyway, but it's not needed. And use the other motorized division to lead the push here. Once that is secured, the Soviets will be stretched too thin and you can just play around them a bit. Try to link up and try to capture Tikvin. Tikvin is the real tricky objective here, so you need to get here through bad weather, tough terrain, a lot of Soviets, river crossing, you're not having many units, etc. So that is really the crux of this mission, is to capture it. But as you've seen, it's not impossible. We still had a few units to throw at the CTX if they had been able to access it, to approach it. So that's it. This is a fun scenario in my opinion because it's kind of different. So it has two front lines, and if you count the Finns as separate, then it has four front lines actually, and it's really it really requires you to employ different tactics, and to also reimagine your strategy on the move. It's a tough one, but it's also relatively short, so it's not frustrating at all. I actually enjoyed replaying it a few times. And this is the last but one scenario in this campaign, so it's expected to be tough anyway. And yeah, just persevere, and you'll see that with every retry you're going to actually get better and better, and once sooner or later you will finish this off with no problems. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.